Good. Well, welcome to the July 12th, 2021 Select Board meeting. Would you please all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, order of business is the acceptance and correction of minutes of 6/28/21, public and non-public.
I'll make a motion, we accept the corrections of minutes from 6/28/21, public and the non-public minutes with corrections if need be.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Collis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes. We do not have any announcements. We have an appointment at 6:15. So Derek, why don't you jump in a little bit then?
Okay, thank you. The town administrator's report is on tab 7 of your packet. The first item is your committee meeting schedule for the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in this room will be Sewer Commission.
I'm there.
Thank you. At 6 p.m. on Thursday, CIP will be meeting here in this room. I think, is that you,
Jim,
Selectman Craig?
yeah.
And then 6:30 p.m., the Village Piscataquag River Pedestrian Bridge Ad Hoc. They will meet over at the Parks and Rec Center.
Yeah, I won't be there. I'll be away, but I've talked to Andy about sending along my comments on the draft report, which is the gist of the meeting that evening, so.
Next week at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the library trustees will meet at the public library.
Me.
Thank you. And at 7 p.m., Parks and Recs Commission will meet at the Parks and Rec Center.
I got that covered.
And Thursday at 7 p.m., Planning Board will meet in this room.
Yep, got it.
Thank you. At your next page, you have your consent agenda for the week. Employee status reports. You have a DPW truck driver, new hire. A lifeguard, seasonal Parks and Rec, new hire. An accountant, master's degree differential per the personnel plan. Building secretary, a step increase and matrix adjustment per the conditional offer. That's the end of probationary period. We also added 2 since we put the packets together. You have a seasonal laborer hired over at DPW and a dispatcher hired at police department. Event permits, you have the Village Trestle Charity Motorcycle Run and Barbecue, August 7th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The location here says 25 Main Street back parking lot. I understand that they've made some changes and they're going to be operating inside on that day. And then WZID Block Party on August 26th from 5 to 7, locations at Barnard Park.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing motion by Chet, seconded by Collis. I'll call the vote. Used to the roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, seeing none, motion passes.
And then the last item I have is, the next page is a memo from the finance director. This is a motion to approve budget transfer for reallocation from the insurance line to various wage lines for those employees that forego town insurance and get the opt-out.
This is done quarterly?
We do this quarterly, yes.
Any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the, what is it, the
Budget transfer request.
transfer request for the money for DPW
Well, no,
and all departments.
yes. In the amount of $53,760.53.
Yep.
And that's coming from the insurance benefits to various wage lines, that's for them.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Chet. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
That's all I had for town administrator's report this evening.
Okay, Tim's not here.
Nope, Tim's here.
Is he here? Oh, yeah. Well, we only got 5 minutes, Tim, if you want to get started, if you don't mind.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, once you come out, we'll get started. Just at 6:10, we have public comment, that's all. It's just,
I won't be that long.
I know you better than that.
Thanks for putting me on the agenda tonight. My name's Tim Redmond. I am the chairman of the Goffstown Sewer Commission. So what I'm here for tonight is some input or comments from the Board of Selectmen regarding the proposal we have for the East Union Pump Station driveway. The whole conversation began due to the increased use of the waterfront area by the pump station. Last year when COVID struck, a lot of people were looking for things to do, and someplace on a website that was listed as a place where people could access the river. So they came in droves. The sewer personnel noticed an increased use resulted in increased trash, and I'm going to describe it as misuse of the adjacent woodlands. You can guess for yourself what was going on in the woodlands around, which our staff cleaned up most of the trash, but did not clean up what was going on off the beaten path. The sewer personnel also reported an increase in vehicular traffic at the immediate area of the waterfront, which means sometimes there was 8, 10, or a dozen vehicles all jammed in down there in that little gravel area, which is probably 8 or 9 feet from the actual river itself. So the sewer commissioners discussed these reports, and some of us went and observed the activities ourselves, and most of what our sewer foreman was reporting all panned out. It was all true. So the primary concerns boiled down to pedestrian safety at the waterfront, which was people were walking all over the place down there, carrying stuff to and from the water, and people were driving their vehicles down there, and they were backing up and turning around and whatever else you got to do to get your vehicle in and out of the site. We also had environmental concerns, having the vehicles almost always immediately at the river's edge. And there's a big gully there where the water runs down and it drains right into the river. Needless to say, there was a lot of late night events down there. People were down there beyond what I would consider a reasonable amount of time, which I'll ask for comment from you folks tonight about. But we felt that we had many months of discussion at sewer commissioners meetings about that, and it was unanimous consensus that we move forward with the proposal to gate the roadway, but not restrict people from accessing the river, obviously. So our proposed plan is in your packet. There is a photograph of the gate itself that we propose to use along with the blue ribbon proposal. Corey Wyke is our sewer foreman. He contacted 4 companies and only Blue Ribbon responded, but I guess they're the contractor that does most of the gates for Park and Rec here in town. So we know that they're going to get a quality job.
The Sweeneys have done a lot of work in this town, so yeah.
Okay. So you can see the photograph of what the gate would look like, and you can see what our costs are going to be that sewer commission is going to be paying for. There's a Google map picture that has no parking written on it somewhere in your packet. I gave it to Derek. That is an area where we would consider putting up no parking signs for the immediate access to the pumping station, as well as some striping to try to discourage people from parking in that area. They would have the whole length of the road, both sides, and down to the proposed gate. There's a photo of where we would propose to put the gate in. It's an orange construction fence. It's at the end of the boulders. There's a pinch point down there where vehicles could not actually drive around it, but pedestrians could walk around it, and they can carry their kayaks, and you can actually see the river in the upper left-hand corner, so it's a very short walk for people to carry their kayaks. That gate would probably have to have a sign on it that would be a do not block, because the fire department needs to have access to the riverfront for fire department purposes. It would be locked, and we would provide the fire department with a key, obviously, or multiple keys, as well as anybody that would deem to be an appropriate party to have keys. Maybe DPW should have keys, us, sewer commissioners, as well as fire. So in an effort to be brief tonight, the proposed packet is the gate installation, as well as the signage and the striping. I am actually here tonight to make this presentation, as well as receive any input or comments from the Board of Selectmen. I have 2 questions to ask about, but I'll start with if you have any comments or input at this time regarding this proposal in general.
Okay, we'll start with Jim.
Just a question, if cars can't go in there, are we creating a parking problem on the road above?
Well, they'll park bumper to bumper, and they'll turn around in the sewer department's driveway area to get back out. they still do park up there when the lower lot is over full, where they can't get in down there. Now, I think COVID was an extreme situation. I think we had many, many more people down there than normal, but I think they found that it's a nice place to be, so I think it's going to continue to be a spot that residents and actually non-residents of the town come and put their kayaks in and use it for recreational purposes, which we think is great. We're fine with it.
Collis?
Yeah, thanks, Tim, I appreciate that. And I would agree, there's no question, something needs to be done down there. I hope that whatever plan we come up with will still allow for carry-down access, if you will, canoes and kayaks, so we don't restrict that. And that the plan also accounts for erosion, so that we're not getting, soil and materials heading down the access road into the river. It is a great place, and I know it's a great asset for folks to use. And I'm wondering if we couldn't come up with, and I'm not suggesting we need to spend a lot of money on survey or whatnot, but an actual plan that shows the limits of the road that's going down, where there might be a water diversion to divert runoff so it doesn't get down to the river somewhere, maybe a drivable swale, if you will, and where you need parking spaces to maintain and operate the pump station, that sort of stuff. And again, I'm not talking about a lot of money, but at least a sketch with some rough dimensions, I think would be helpful for me at least. But I agree with you, something needs to be done down there. And again, I don't want to repeat myself, but as long as we can maintain public access, because that is a very valuable resource. And I know that the Glen Lake Waterfront Ad Hoc Committee saw it as a valuable resource and made some recommendations, and I think your request is consistent with those recommendations.
So if we were to have our
Let me just interrupt you for just one minute. It is 6:10. Is there anybody here for public comment? Come right up.
Sorry, it took more than 5 minutes.
Good evening. For those of you who don't remember me, I'm Tracy Hutton. I'm the Executive Director of the Goffstown Main Street Program. I'm a little surprised that the Village Trestles event permit got approved, given our comments on the consent agenda without any discussion. My board met on Thursday, and they're very concerned that the traffic is going to be more than the downtown village can handle for two events. Our event extends from the Common all the way to the quilt shop on the other side of the bridge. So if we have both vehicular and pedestrian traffic that entire length, we're concerned with the quantity of motorcycles that there have been in the past for this event that the trestle proposes, and where they're all going to park given our events. It seems to me that they're incompatible uses, but I was surprised that there was no discussion given that we had submitted written comment.
Have you, and I don't want to get in a debate on this because that's not what this is, what public comments about.
Yep,
We-
yep.
We understand your comments, but have you gone down and talked to them at all?
We found this on Facebook last
No,
week. We
did
had
you
very
go down-
short
you didn't
notice.
answer my question. Did
Yeah.
you go down as Main Street coordinator? Did you go down and talk to them?
I have not.
Okay.
I received comment from Derek that they had changed their plans, but it didn't satisfy my board.
Okay. All right, thank you for your comments. How go? Go ahead.
Okay. My name's Andrew Cadrick, resident of Goffstown. I'm on the Piscataquag River Local Advisory Committee, and I was also chair of the Glen Lake Waterfront Ad Hoc Committee. And I do want to thank the Sewer Commission for thinking of ways to protect that waterfront. I like what I'm hearing. I think my concerns, or one of the concerns, would be public access and the ability for the public to still access that point. Parking is already, from when we had our stakeholder meetings, we heard that parking was a concern, so I'm glad that they're going to look to accommodate that. I would like to have the opportunity, when this discussion is done, if there is an opportunity to comment again, not knowing where the discussion is going to go, I'd like to at least have the opportunity to
Sure, that's
comment
fine.
at that point. So.
We do have another comment session after. In fact,
Oh.
where you're on these boards and stuff, I don't understand why we just can't, when Tim gets done, if you want to put any input in, that would be fine too.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Come on, Tim. Everybody else? Seeing none, we'll finish up with Tim.
David, I already started, so you missed a little of it.
I'm here for another reason.
Okay. Well, Dave's also a sewer commissioner. So, Address your concerns, Collis, if we were to have Corey White, who's our sewer foreman, take the GIS photo of the waterfront, maybe we could draw something so that we could show that we are going to try to mitigate erosion down there, that we will try to control any sand or anything. Because presently, there's a sort of a swale at the far end of the parking lot that just runs directly into there. So we're not going to ask DPW for assistance unless the board thinks it's necessary. I think we can handle it on our own. We have capable staff to handle it that are paid. So if we can make up some sort of a plan to show you or show the board in general, then you could comment on it, and without hiring an engineer is what I'm trying to avoid.
That would be perfectly acceptable to me, Tim, as well as where signs are going to be placed and what the signs are going to say.
Yes.
You know, so we make sure we accommodated folks as well as accommodated the sewer commission's needs. So, yeah, that's perfectly fine. I mean, like I say, I'm not looking to spend money on this thing.
Basically, the signage is to protect the gated access to the sewer
Right.
pumping station so that personnel can access the pumping station at any time they need to without having to go look for people down on the river that may be kayaking,
Yeah.
and then we can't get their cars moving. And we certainly don't want to tow anybody's car. That's something we don't want to do.
Could you, I would think we could, authorize you to lean on the town engineer for some help to look it over.
Sure.
I mean, if you wanted.
Sure.
Without, like we said, we don't want to spend a bunch of money, and she's on staff. I mean,
Fine.
I would say, that's just my call, but,
Yeah, I mean, all she's got to do is go down and pull a tape, this far from this tree and this rock, and
yeah, I mean,
We're going to have to get it before Labor Day.
oh, that's right,
We'll get it before Labor Day. We were told at the planning board meeting the other night,
literally Labor Day.
Labor Day.
yeah.
So we will move on this, and we'll get something together so that it can be reviewed by the board as well as the town engineer for the
Yeah, if we-
erosion control.
Yeah, if we get it up front, we can maybe take a walk down there and see where things fall.
When can we expect to see that?
We'll have a sewer commissioners meeting tomorrow night. We'll discuss it at the meeting, and I would say within 30 days, we'll have it back to you.
Okay.
I'll do it myself. That way we'll get it done.
Sooner the better, that we can get that problem. This is the time of year you have that issue, so.
I have a question, 2 questions for you. Other areas on the waterfront, do we have any time restrictions on the public use of waterfront property? Is dark or something that we have restricted residents from using the waterfront? I only say this because there are residents who live across from the area there that have told me, when I asked, has there been any parties down there at night that disturb you at night? And there was a resident that said, yes, there have been parties down there late at night in the dark that water, obviously voices carry across the water. And that was a concern from a resident who lives across from that area down there. So that's one input item I'd like to.
What's our rules at Glen Lake?
So, well, Glen Lake's a little different because it was built with federal dollars, so you can't restrict it, so that's open 24/7. So that fishermen can launch their boats and fish on the water body. That's not the case here. This is town-owned property that I assume we have full control over, so we should be able to establish an ordinance or whatever it takes.
You would need to establish an ordinance, yes. Yep.
Well, we would not obviously produce any signage until that decision has been made
Right.
at this level, and you can advise us on your decision.
Mark?
I think, in all fairness, to keep the noise down and have some harmony in that area, I think a dawn to dusk type plan should be put in place. And when and if it's agreeable with your board and our board, put the sign on the gate. And the other thing I was gonna talk about is signed, I didn't see it in here, but signage, carry in, carry out, make sure that, whatever trash you bring in, you bring out.
We'd be happy to do that.
We're not responsible for the trash, Tim. I mean, and if there's some signage there, hopefully, that will alleviate some of the issues that are there, but that's my thoughts, Peter.
What are our nighttime usage rules on the rail trail? David Pierce. Dawn to dusk, am I right?
Evening, Mr. Chairman. Rail trail is still dawn to dusk.
Okay, so
So if we
there
were,
is a precedent set that dawn to dusk, I would think that would be.
Yeah,
We'd be happy to produce signs based on that input, and then if it becomes a violation, then maybe then you could enact an ordinance after the fact if you had to.
Well, I don't know why we just don't go through them and do an
Ordinance
ordinance.
up front, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, we can
just
create
schedule
one.
it
Yep.
through the
Then
process.
you can enforce to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want the cops down there any more than anybody else does,
Right.
but
That brings up one issue, that's the issue of the porta potty.
that was my second question. I was going to ask if the Board of Selectmen would authorize the expense to provide a porta potty for the site and tack it on to whatever contracts you already have for the other waterfront areas that you provide porta johns at.
Rick hates those things.
We all hate them, but they do keep people from going in the woods.
Yeah.
We could protect it better, I think, there, because we could chain it to a post or something where they can't tip it over, because I know that's a problem with porta johns. So we would be happy to make accommodations to secure it in the event that the board would consider authorizing the expense to provide one at our property down there.
Let's get the cost on that, then we can just
Yeah,
determine
I
that.
would think if you kept it far up away from the river, lake.
It's going to be at the gate, actually,
At the
in the
gate.
shade.
Yeah,
If we put it in the shade up by the gate, it'll be a little less,
Stinky.
yeah, that's the word I wasn't going to say.
Yeah. Take a little liberty. David, did you want to,
Just a quick observation, so the Parks and Rec Center that must have, is there a non-to-dust protocol there? And if that's the case, is there already an ordinance in place?
well, that's a good point, we'll have to check into it.
There's not that
There's
I'm
not,
aware
okay.
of, but I
We'll
will
check into it,
research
thanks for bringing that up, though. Anything else, Tim?
I just wanted to get any comments from you folks on what you thought would be adding to our plan to make it all work for everybody's satisfaction.
Well, I think Carlos brought up the point that we maybe better have a little bit better understanding of the area, you know, and drainage and things like that, and where we have to help out, so.
Okay.
and then I think we could probably drop an ordinance to address multiple waterfront areas, Parks and Rec. This one perhaps, we call them out individually in the ordinance,
Yep, yes.
take care of it in one fell swoop.
All right,
So we've held off on actually ordering the gate from Blue Ribbon until we had comment from you tonight. In the event that you thought it was a bad idea, we didn't want to own a gate that we couldn't put up. So we will go ahead and order our gate and get it installed and
go
keep
from
you
there.
apprised of
signage requirements. And Mark,
Just, lock on the gate, and then we get how many keys for fire?
The lock, I was gonna say, if you see Bill Connor,
Yeah.
he'll give you the lock, it's a special lock, and you don't even, well, you may need keys, but I know for the fire department, we already have the keys. The keys are on every piece of apparatus already, it's a special key for you guys.
We could tag
Could
team
you-
locks, just tag team two locks together, our lock on one side, yours on the other, that way
Yeah.
whoever has the key. we don't have
Could
to
you
have
just use the same lock we use on the balusters?
I was going to suggest, Mr. Chairman, Park Department has a master key for all of the parks, and it would certainly serve just as well on a
And
gate.
so the parks, the fire department has that key also.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll work out the lock
Yep.
details, I'll talk to Bill Connor and see what
Yeah.
we need to do, and you can be my liaison if I can't
Yeah,
get hold
that's
of
right,
it.
let me know.
I got your phone number.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Hope you
Good night,
got
all.
some direction from us.
Do we need a motion for him to move forward, or what do you think? No?
No, I think
Okay,
we gave him
All right,
directions
I
to
just-
the plan
yeah.
and come back to us.
just wanna make sure.
Can I just provide a little bit of comment?
Andy, come right up.
All right, thank you. So I wanted to say to the select board, thank you, because it has been rewarding to do this ad hoc waterfront report and see things happen behind the park and recs and improvements to allow public access here. I'm also going to make a plug for the first priority on the ad hoc waterfront committee was explore the creation of a capital reserve fund to provide resources for ongoing waterfront maintenance. I don't know if that's happened, but that was the first priority. And the second one is to review all town-owned shorefront properties to assess and maintain erosion controls, which is very important, especially at this site. 2, ensure public safety, which we're talking about here. 3, allow for responsible public access, water access, and that's happening. And then ensure and protect the water quality, stabilize and preserve the shoreline. So
Could you kind of put that in some kind of a formal thing so we have it in our record of things you're looking to do?
absolutely. We have a report, and I'll put it out and shoot an email to somebody.
All right.
Thank you.
To Derek.
Okay. Thank you.
So we get another 5 minutes. Let's go to 12. Is that right there?
You also have department updates at item 8. We don't have any department heads here other than myself, but you do have written reports.
Yeah, you have the written report. Have you all
From-
reviewed
yes.
this? It doesn't have much to say?
Yeah, fire and DPW, and
Yeah.
police department was on your.
Anybody have any questions? It's all that's pretty boilerplate this time. And then we're gonna go on to 12, new business. Does anybody have any new business? We'll go through the action matrix.
The engine 2,
Yep.
if that's on there, it should be back this week. It may even be back in town today. I saw.
The fire chief said on Friday that they did resolve whatever the warranty work was, and it's
So-
due back this week.
Yeah,
I heard that.
so,
We still have six-wheel dump out. Let's go to the top, police station improvements. Have we heard any more from the county?
No, just that they did direct the county administrator to move forward with the RFP process and to work with the town. So I'll be following up with a letter exactly describing exactly what the town is looking for the amount of land, so they can move that process forward.
And you're working on a personnel plan?
Yep.
When will we have some on that, you think?
So we are doing the surveys now, and then once we get some of those results back and we can interpret them, working with Danielle and Derek on that. One of them's already back. Fire goes out next Monday.
Carlos, it sounds like your report's almost ready for the,
Yeah, I'll just touch on it
Pedestrian bridge?
real quick, Peter.
Go ahead.
And I don't want to speak for anybody who's not here, so I will. The charter said that we're going to deliver a report to the select board in August. A lot of work's gone into this. There's been some delays. We need to do some additional survey down there. Of course, we're running into vacations now and that sort of thing. So it's likely you're going to see a request to extend that to September, one additional month, just to wrap that up, because I want to make sure that the report is up to snuff, it's clean, it's clear and readable. But if we need that, we'll come back and request an extension.
okay. Anybody got anything else? Well, we have a public hearing scheduled for 6:30. It's not quite 6:30 yet. And that is number 5. I'll read this and then we'll open up the public hearing at 6:30. Compliance with RSA 41:14-B, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting a public hearing to accept public input pertaining to the proposed ordinance entitled Water Quality Ordinance. Copies of the proposed ordinance are available online at www.goffstown.com or at the town clerk's office. A vote on this matter is scheduled for Monday, July 26th. And I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to comment on the water quality ordinance? Don't all speak at once. Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. Then we have another public hearing. In compliance with RSA 41:14-B, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing to accept public input pertaining to the proposed ordinances. Proposed ordinance titled Meadowlark Lane, Benjamin Drive, Kimberly Lane Speed Limit Ordinance, reducing speed on Meadowlark Lane, Benjamin Drive, and Kimberly Lane to 25 miles an hour. Proposed ordinance entitled Juniper Drive Speed Limit Ordinance, reducing the speed on Juniper Drive to 25 miles an hour. Proposed ordinance entitled Stop Sign on Higgins Street at the intersection of Cross Street, ordinance to install a stop sign on Higgins Street at the intersection of Cross Street And then proposed ordinance entitled Riverview Park Road Speed Limit Ordinance to change the speed limit on Riverview Park to 25 miles an hour. This is the first public hearing on these proposed ordinances. A second hearing is scheduled for 7/26/21 at 6:30. A vote on this ordinance will be scheduled for 8/9/21. Is there anybody here to speak to these ordinances? Which changes, speed limit changes, stop signs? Wow. I'll close the public hearing. Now we can't do anything till 7 now, Derek?
Correct. Well, no, you can still conduct business until 7, but we can't do the public hearings
Right.
until 7.
Do we have anything else?
Mr. Chair, is there anything for non-public? Maybe we could do, if there's anything.
I don't have anything. I don't know if any of the board members have any.
Oh, I don't have any.
No, I just trying to fill
Yeah,
fill
yeah.
the slot, that's
Yeah.
all.
So do we take a recess for 30 minutes?
I guess we'll have to.
If that's the board's preference, I would say, the only thing, maybe we come back, yeah, if you want to do until 6:55 PM
Yeah.
and do a recess until then.
All right, we'll be recessed until 6:55 GTV.
No, I don't have their number.
To Lake Francis tomorrow with it, but
Oh, wow,
it's not happening.
yeah.
make the announcement, and then we'll talk about these. We can
And
come, then at 7, we'll open a public hearing.
Okay, sounds good. So GTV, we're ready to go again?
In compliance with RSA 4114-A, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing to accept public input pertaining to the accepting as excavatory interest in a 17-acre conservation easement being conveyed to the Piscataqua Land Conservancy on map 7, lot 88 and 88B located on Snook Road. A vote on this matter is scheduled for Monday, July 26th. So, a little background information?
Yes, so Conservation Commission member David Neiman did present this back to the board back in May now. This is a 17-acre conservation easement. It will be held by Piscataqua Land Conservancy. The town will receive an executory interest in the easement. It adds to 250 acres of contiguous conservation land already. On May 26th, the Conservation Commission voted unanimously to approve the release of an amount up to, but not to exceed, $114,000 from the Goffstown Land Use Change Tax Conservation Fund. This conservation easement is across 2 lots. It's on tax map 7, lot 88 and 88B. And then on May 27th, the planning board voted unanimously to recommend the acquisition of the conservation easement. The cost estimate, we did receive last week an updated cost estimate from Piscataqua Land Conservancy. It is now $109,231 to come from the Conservation Fund. The current balance of the Land Use Change Tax Conservation Fund is $190,715, and the Finance Director updated that for me on Friday, so that takes into account the Burns easement, which was closed on at the beginning of July. It was approved by the board in June, and then we closed in July on that.
What was the original cost estimate?
That would be on, it was originally going to be $112,443. I don't have the revised breakdown with me.
That's okay.
But, so it's a little bit less than was originally estimated by Piscataqua Land Conservancy and communicated. You do have David's earlier memo in your packet with that amount.
Anybody got any questions? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody here from the public who would like to comment on this? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you. And then, in compliance with RSA 31:95-E, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing to accept public input about a proposed donation of sidewalk improvements on Laurier Street, adjacent to the properties identified in tax map 17, lots 184-1 and 186, with an estimated value of $13,000 as part of the site plan for Ernie's excavation on tax map 17, lot 184-1. Want to give us background on that one?
Yes, so to remind the board, this was presented to you back in May. The site plan was approved, I believe, from memory, was in 2019 for Ernie's excavation. As part of that, he wanted to construct a sidewalk within the town's right-of-way. At that May 24th meeting, the Select Board voted unanimously to move forward with the acceptance process. So what you have in your packet, the $13,000 value is the value of the granite side of the sidewalks, all the concrete and all the paving. That was an estimate put together by Ernie's Excavation, and DPW looked that number over and said that that was a reasonable estimate for the value of the donation. You also have in your packet a copy of the sidewalk easement, because there is a portion on Mr. Smith's land that is, we require an easement because of the radius on the sidewalk. And then you also have 2 copies of temporary license and indemnification agreements. This is because, again, it goes across 2 lots with 2 separate owners. They will be responsible for the maintenance of this sidewalk, any damage suffered to Goffstown equipment or suffered by any person due to it not being maintained would be the property owner's condition. And as you'll recall, Adam Jacobs, DPW Director, spoke to this a bit, that if the sidewalk network were to be expanded into this neighborhood, then the town at that point would take that over.
Anybody got any comments or questions?
Drove by it the other day, very nice job done.
So I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody here of the public that would like to comment on this?
I'm Earl Sanford. I did the design working with
Earl, do you
DPW.
mind
Come on up,
just,
Earl.
okay, just so the TV can pick you up.
My name's Earl Sanford, Sanford Surveying and Engineering, and we worked with DPW to design where that would go. I think you heard everything you need pretty much to hear. I did bring as-built because it's been built according to, our new design, but I'm not sure whether that is something you want to go on the record or whether that's just more something for, he wants a very bad way to get his CO, so that's all part of that process. But because we had it, I brought it to see if there was any interest in the as-built situation. But right now, I think he's basically done everything to bring the site up to compliance with the requirements of the planning board, and we're looking for that final okay, and he can get the CO, and it's been a long slog, but
It's done, right?
It's a
Hopefully.
very tight space to work in, but he did a good job of
So the
working
next
it.
step for them is what, Derek?
So he did bring in on Friday all the signed and notarized temporary license and indemnification agreements. We're going to work with him to get the sidewalk easement notarized. He did provide it signed, but it wasn't notarized. So we'll work with him to get that and get those all recorded. And then when I leave this meeting, I can let DPW and Joanne know that as far as the sidewalk acceptance, if the board votes to accept that donation and accept the easement and to sign the indemnification agreements, then we're all set in terms of the sidewalk is concerned, and then he'll just have to finish up any other items with planning and DPW, and if there are no items, then they would get the CO.
So we've just got some administrative items to take care of,
Yeah.
including a series of motions to wrap it up, I guess.
Is there anybody else here that would like to speak to this? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I need some motions.
I'll make a motion to accept, in accordance with RSA 31:95-E, the proposed donation of sidewalk improvements on Warrior Street, adjacent to properties identified as tax map 17, lots 184-1 and 186, with an estimated value of $13,000 as part of the site plan for Ernie's excavation on tax map 17, lot 184-1.
Second.
Motion by Collis, seconded by Mark. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
I'll make another motion to accept the sidewalk easement on tax map 17, lot 186, on the corner of Laurier Street and Cross Street.
Second.
Motion by Collis, seconded by Mark. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining?
And finally, I'll make a
Oh,
motion. Oops,
Go ahead,
I'm
Eric.
sorry.
Well, when it comes to the easement, I wonder if it should be also companioned with the other easement for the drainage for DPW, but I don't know. How
I
does
don't have
work?
that in front of me this evening. DPW hasn't provided that to us
Okay,
yet.
because that was provided way back, I
Okay,
thought.
I will
but-
follow up with Joanne, and we will get that taken care of. That normally comes over through the planning office, and I did not have that to provide the board this evening, so I apologize.
So I wasn't
for that.
sure if does it have to go through the same procedure?
It doesn't require a public hearing, but
Okay.
they do need to accept it, and I do give them a copy of it ahead of time, but I will check with Joanne.
There- yeah.
And I will.
Because they could be recorded together easily, whatever, but anyway, sorry to interject, but I did.
And next, Collis?
And the final motion would be to accept the temporary license and indemnification agreements for tax maps 17, lots 84-1 and 186.
Yep.
Motion by Carlos, seconded by Mark. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes. So we're all set, and Derek will work on the other one, right?
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Next up is another public hearing. And in compliance with RSA 31:95-E, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing to accept public input about a proposed donation of rail trail improvements from the Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail, specifically for the construction of 2,700 feet of rail trail between Henry Bridge Road and Dana's Park Road, behind the county complex, having a worth of $16,610 as a result of recreational trail program grants from the New Hampshire Trails Bureau. I will open the public hearing up at this time. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak to it? You want to speak, David?
Yes. With the board's concurrence, well, I'm Dave Pierce, 21 Mill Street, and I'm an officer in the Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail. June, a year ago, with the board's concurrence, I submitted for a grant to do the project we're discussing this evening. The grant was approved in November, and about 2 weeks ago, the governor and the executive council released the money so that the grant recipients can start engaging in the work. And as you mentioned, this is from Dana's Park Road to Henry Bridge Road, 2,700 feet of length. The grant money that I use will buy the materials to be needed by Public Works. The NITPAC. I also privately will contract for loam and seeding once the NITPAC is down. And the role of Public Works is laying the NITPAC and compacting it, rough grading before that. And the Director of Public Works and I and Mike Hillhouse, we walked the site last week so that he could scope out how the work would be done. As we've discussed here before, it'll be non-conflicting as much as possible with other tasks that are on their work schedule this season. So I'm now that the money's been released, I'm asking if the board would accept a donation of that trail improvement so that I can formally get started.
Does this eliminate the soft sand that was over there behind the county complex? Is that what this is designed to do?
I believe the area you're talking about was fixed 2 years ago.
Or was it?
I invite you out more
Well, I just
frequently.
wrote it not too long ago, so I don't...
But, yeah, there's a short section from the gravel road that goes down to the riverbank towards the Papa Cemetery that was fixed up through a grant that I had received.
Okay.
That was-
Anybody else here from the public to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Need a motion?
Make a motion to accept in accordance with RSA 31:95-E, the proposed donation of rail trail improvement from the Friends of Goffstown Rail Trail, specifically for construction of 2,700 feet of rail trail between Henry Bridge Road and Dana's Park Road behind the county complex, having a worth of $16,610 as a result of a recreational trails program grant from the New Hampshire Trails Bureau.
Second.
Motion by Chet, seconded by Jim. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else, Derek?
I don't have anything else.
Motion, Mark?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Collis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, seeing none, motion passes.
That Collis over there.
Oh, yeah, Chet, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.